Hello, citizens of the Dark Knight Nation, and welcome to Comics Insider, the show where we break down, discuss, and analyze one of the biggest new comics to come out. Now, this week we're discussing Three Jokers, #1, which is a book we've been waiting for about forever and a half.
After 7 long years. Finally! Finally!
If you guys look back to one of the first videos on the channel, I did an interview with Fabok where we actually talked about this book, and he had talked about this book sort of being his magnum opus in comics, and well, we'll see how that went. But I will say that there was a lot in this book to cover and analyze, so as much as I don't want to spoil anything in the beginning, I will say there is a lot to talk about here. With that out of the way, I do want to give somebody an opportunity to be able to read this book that might not have otherwise been able to. So, thanks to my sponsor, AJ's Comics in Colchester, Connecticut, we're going to be able to give you guys a free physical copy of this book today, which is super great, along with a cool little Batman Joker playing card, and that's not all, folks, a DC Connect 3 Jokers poster. So, in order to win, make sure you stay until the end of the video, but we will have to hit at least a like goal of 30 likes within the first 3 days as part of it. So make sure you leave this video a like if you enjoy it. Even if you hate it, well, who knows? A like is a like. I'll take it. Anyways, with that being said, make sure you guys stick around on the channel and click that subscribe button, because by September 1st, I'll be launching my Kickstarter for Area 51, The Helix Project, which is my creator-owned comic under my own publishing label, Pocket Watch Press. So make sure you guys stick around for that. With all of the business out of the way, I want to deep dive into this book. So let's do it. Batman 3 Jokers #1 is written by Geoff, features art by Fabok, and colors by Brad Anderson. This story opens up with a wounded Bruce Wayne struggling to an operating table deep in the Batcave, and once there is barraged by memories of the scars littered across his body. The motif of scars serve a major narrative purpose in this issue as we shift point of view, so definitely keep an eye on that. As Alfred sews him up, Batman recalls great pain, but the most consistent element of agony came at the hands of the Joker. Batman, Batgirl, and Red Hood serve as the protagonists for this story, all of them having endured unparalleled suffering at the hands of the Joker. Johns and Fabok give about a page to each of the characters in order to remind us of perhaps the Joker's most vile encounter with each of them. Interestingly enough, in Bruce's sequence, we happen upon the night his parents were gunned down in Crime Alley. When we pick up with Barbara, we're reminded of the fateful night that her spine was shattered by a bullet shot at point-blank range within the pages of The Killing Joke. Like Bruce, as Barbara's fingertips outline her scars, the torment of her past comes to the forefront. Jason, on the other hand, is midway through brutalizing a pack of Joker thugs when he recalls the Joker's heavy swing and the blunt force of crowbar smashing bone. Juxtaposed over each of these scenes are news reports of the Joker sightings in Gotham, all of which are totally contradictory. First, at the murder of the Moxon crime family in the Clown Prince's war on organized crime. If you didn't already know, the Moxon family were originally accused of orchestrating the murder of the Waynes, but were exonerated when Joe Chill confessed to acting alone. The next sighting finds the beloved comedian Kalani Apaka murdered by the Joker, and lastly capture on a security camera at Ace Chemicals. According to the broadcast, the Clown Prince of Crime's escapade began earlier this week with the murder by Rubber Chicken of Dr. Roger Huntoon, author of 2 psychology books that condemned the culture of the costumed hero community. In said books, Huntoon proposed that masks separate men and women from their conscience, allowing them to unleash their darker selves without ramifications. This will surely serve a massive narrative purpose as well in analyzing how the Joker will drive our 3 protagonists to the brink. At the scene of the Ace Chemicals murder, we find 3 men wearing both identical clothes and having identical faces to the 3 Red Hoods that attempted to rob the plant back during the Joker's supposed origin in The Killing Joke. Only this time, all 3 men were dropped into the chemical vat, and Joker may or may not have escaped with an industrial truck full of said chemicals. Through Batman's analysis of the crime scene, we learn that the man who laughs crossed his T's and dotted his I's, as each of his victims were harshly mutated by the chemicals, making it nearly impossible to identify them. It's at this point that Batman realizes that the Joker aimed to distract Gotham's protectors with the 3 sightings and somehow something far more sinister is about to unfold. Just as Batman and Batgirl wrap up initial observations, a soft laughter builds from behind them, only to find one of the victims alive and begging for help. Said victim just so happens to be the double of the Joker himself. Moments later, the man is loaded onto an ambulance and escorted by our two heroes. Suddenly, a loud thud emanates from inside the ambulance as we pull inside. The Red Hood slams the victim against the inner wall of the armored car and interrogates him. The Caped Crusader spares no time before kicking his way into the back of the ambulance. Just as Batman launches a fist at his former protege, the scene fades to black, and we pick up with a familiar pair of purple pants, stepping out of the stolen Ace Chemicals truck. As he makes his way to a nearby cabin, another pale-faced comedian answers the door, only for us to be led to the boss amongst them, the original Joker. Now that they have the chemicals, what's next? What we always do. We try to make a better Joker. Back with the Bat family, the conflict between father and son is long over, and we learn that from Jason's intel that each of the victims from the Ace Chemicals scene were picked up and juiced from a halfway house. Inside the closed Gotham Aquarium, Batman warns his partners that whatever they're up against now will be unlike anything they've ever faced. On that note, the cowled detective looks up to find a massive tank of Jokerized sea life before the Red Hood's sensors alert them to company headed their way. A gang of Golden Age-looking thugs arrive on the scene, led by the Joker's original sidekick, Gaggy. Before much else can be said, a fight breaks out, the occasional bullet flying into the Jokerized tank behind them. Amidst the calamity, Gaggy manages to prod Red Hood with an electric baton before Jason points his pistol at him and fires. To Gaggy's surprise, the shot missed, or so he thought. The missed bullet was the nail in Gaggy's coffin, as the retaining glass shatters and the Jokerized shark is unleashed to feast on the Joker's former court jester. Out of the fumes comes the pale clown with a bowl filled with laughing fish. Fists and glass fly as the Joker antagonizes Red Hood and his death at the hands of the Clown Prince. Just as he seemingly gains the upper hand, Batman comes barreling in with a left cross, followed by an assist from Batgirl. The Joker is laid out, unconscious before them. Not long after, Batman receives a call from Commissioner Gordon with news. The GCPD has supposedly cornered another Joker at 17th and Broadway. With that, Bruce leaves the clown before him to Barbara and Jason as he takes off to the GCPD holdup. Sometime later, Joker regains consciousness as he's cuffed to a nearby chair. Batgirl and Red Hood find themselves puzzled at the Joker's MO and the possibility of 3 separate entities having tortured Gotham this whole time. As Jason moves in to get a closer look, acid flies towards him from the clown's boutonniere. Thanks to Batgirl, he gets out of the way, but that was nothing compared to what the Joker does next. Joker's mouth may be the most deadly weapon in the room. His antagonization of Red Hood resumes as he questions Jason's use of his old moniker, Red Hood, where Jason argues that he does it to own what the Joker did to him. The man who laughs does little more than smile and says that Todd is still the same little boy he was before he went down under. Seizing the moment, Jason unholsters his pistol and points it at the source of all of his agony, all of his rage. As Barbara tries to calm him, Joker's arrhythmic voice carries from behind her. He nudges Jason to pull the trigger, to be the monster that he so desperately tries to avoid. The clown boasts that Jason is not Batman, and will never be. He's the same little boy that got his skull bashed in. The dead Robin. Even after that, Batman arrested him, just as they're doing now, and he was locked up at Arkham, until he wasn't. Jason glares at the clown down the sight of his gun, arguing that death only made him stronger. Yes, he says, the boy wonder, or maybe, just maybe the sardonic clown took him to the edge, only to let him climb out of his shallow grave and live with his pain forever. If Jason were dead, the hurt would have stopped. As Joker's words drive deeper into Jason's chest, he asks him a question. Does he recall what he said that fateful evening, as curved steel cracked a child's skull? Joker cherishes those words ever so dearly. Jason grips his gun, ordering Joker to shut up, but the pale, laughing man mocks him and recites the decades-old cry for help. Stop! Please stop! If you let me live, I'll do anything you say. I'll be your Robin. Now look at you, he says, my little Red Hood shooting up people and making Batman's life miserable. Tears stream down Jason's face as he remembers the anguish from that night. He begins to coil his finger around the trigger. Batgirl rushes to stop him, but Red Hood is locked on the clown as Barbara hurls a batarang at his handgun. One final click. Lead plows through the skull of the Joker like tissue paper, dropping him to the floor with one last smile. Barbara berates Jason, asking him what the hell he'd just done, but Jason responds coolly, declaring that she had to have wanted this after everything the Joker had done to her. When she denies it, he asks one simple question. When's the last time you missed, Barbara? As the issue comes to a close, Jason stares down at his dirty work done and hopes that he just killed the right clown. That was a wild ride. Geoff Johns and Jason Fabok craft a deeply intimate story analyzing the trauma and the ghosts of Batman, Batgirl, and Red Hood's past. I absolutely love the way the emotional drama between them and the Joker is pushed. It focuses in on their most torturous encounters to ramp up all of this tension, and to me, those are the real stakes. I think for the most part, we know that our heroes are going to solve whatever crime the Joker is sort of attempting here, but the emotional drama is the center of the stakes here. And it seems like the scars, right, this motif that Geoff Johns is using as a running narrative tool is going to be carried on for long after this story. I mean, in that way, this exploration of the ghosts of their trauma is sort of the perfect way to utilize the Joker. Right? The Joker is Batman's most formidable opponent, probably Batman's most popular villain, and there's a reason for that, because he challenges Batman and the Bat family and Gotham as a whole in ways that no other villain can. He creeps down, finds your core wound, and splits them open, and especially with a character like Batman and the rest of the family, really, that is founded on overcoming core wounds. This is something that I'm very much looking forward to, and in this first issue is executed supremely well. And on that, speaking of our cast of characters, they are so well characterized. I love the way that Johns voices them and takes meticulous care to not only their gestures, but also their dialogue. It feels very, very accurate to these characters for me, and this very much feels like what a mainline Batman book should, even though it's part of Black Label. I also like this little small moment between Batman and Jason after they're done with their conflict in the ambulance and they're in the Batmobile, and Jason is kind of like, why did you never resize the passenger seat in the Batmobile? It's too small. It's almost like you don't want anybody in it, and Batman calls him out for projecting, and I absolutely love that. It's very small, but it does a lot of work to sort of bring to the forefront the tumultuous relationship between those two characters. Johns also does a fantastic job setting up the mystery to the three Jokers. It seems a little bit simplistic, but the way he rolls this out between the three crimes, them intentionally getting caught, and then, the original 1940s kind of criminal Joker mentioning, well, we're going to make more Jokers. And it leaves a lot of questions, I think, for the reader, aside from the fact that, now that Jason has effectively killed supposedly the Joker that killed him, what does that mean for the other Jokers? What does it mean for Jason? And especially, how is Batman going to react to this? Over the course of the last couple of years, Jason has sort of been growing into, well, not a murderer. And he's just finally taken the opportunity to slay his own demons. Now, with that, do more sort of dastardly demons rise to the surface? Who knows, right? Does something come to replace that for Jason's trauma? Did killing the Joker really allow him to heal? Man, and don't get me started on that last confrontation with Joker and Jason. I just love the way the Joker prods at him, and that revelation of Jason as a child's final hours before the Joker kills him, and the guilt, right, that we have now learned Jason to be carrying is exponentially more so, because he feels like he's betrayed Bruce, and he's looked for reasons to hate Bruce. He's been trying to blame Bruce this entire time for his own death, and at the core of it, he's disappointed in his own sort of betrayal of his father figure. He feels like he's betrayed Bruce more than Bruce not killing the Joker had kind of betrayed him, and this overcompensation is such a wonderful retcon of his firmament I also really like the sort of delivery of information in the story. Geoff Johns really ramps up the stakes of the Three Jokers scheme by continuously delivering small pieces of information that sort of spins what we think we already know about their plot. We have a rough idea, right? But at the end of the day, I think there's a lot left open, there's a lot of possibility, and it gets me really excited for this next issue. When it comes to the art, this is absolutely the best work of Jason Fabok's career, without a doubt in my mind. Absolutely excellent camera work. And because of that, along with the page layout and the way he's composing those shots, the sequential narrative is really well served. He is highly deliberate in what's contained within the panel, what's being gestured in the panel. Every detail matters and points towards plot, characters' emotions, or other major narrative purposes. And we can't talk about art without discussing Brad Anderson's finishes on colors. They are absolutely brilliant color choices. Anderson really finds this way to have these highly saturated colors that pop, while also allowing elements of realism to flow through. This book was just super well balanced. I know a lot of my peers were expecting something really big scale, but I'm actually really glad that this is a deeply emotional Batman story that is digging at the core of these characters, what makes them tick, what brings them down, what will they be able to climb up after from, and what will they not. And to me, those are what many of my favorite Batman stories do. You know, The Dark Knight Returns, Batman Ego, things of that nature really get down to the core of who these characters are. They break them down, and we see whether or not they can climb back up over the wreckage. If I had to give this score, man, the more I talk about it, the higher the score gets. I will say it's a little bit slower, but again, it is a first issue. There's a lot of setup to be done, and it is extremely well done at that. I'd give this issue a 9.4 out of 10. I 100% recommend you pick up this book. And on that, I'm going to be able to give one of you guys a free physical copy of this book alongside a poster of this same cover and the playing card. All you have to do in order to enter is like this video. We must hit 30 likes within the first 3 days. Comment down below what you think is going on with the Three Jokers. And finally, subscribe down to the channel below for more content like this. Everything was thanks to my sponsor, AJ's Comics in Colchester, Connecticut. Make sure you go check out their website at ajscomics.com. They have an awesome raffle up right now, $3 an entry for the 1 to 25 Three Jokers #1 variant. It's hard to get, it's not a cheap issue, and for $3 you can throw your hat in the ring. Otherwise, if you are in the market for copies of Three Jokers, he has an awesome bundle pack, 3 of the premium variant covers for $18, which discounts it the price of a monthly comic book essentially. You really can't go wrong with that. And with that being said, if you subscribe to their comic book pull list, you save 10% off everything in the store. So maybe you want to subscribe to the Three Jokers through them and pick up that bundle pack. You can do that as well. Everything is listed on the website. If you need to get in contact with them, it's at the bottom of every single page. At the end of the day, Geoff Johns and company have had a spectacular debut issue with the Three Jokers, and I cannot wait to read more. With all that out of the way, thank you guys so much for watching, and we'll catch you in the next episode of Comics Insider.